The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod. We're webcasting to you live from the Center for Autism and Related Disorders headquarters in Tarzana, California. I'm so excited. It feels very holiday festive here today, and we want to wish everyone a happy holiday, whether you're celebrating a happy Hanukkah or Merry Christmas or joyous Kwanzaa, whatever the holiday is that you're celebrating, we want to celebrate with you. This is the time to maybe take a little bit of time, maybe not. Some of you are twice as busy during the holidays, but it is a time to celebrate and to feel the light. And we're trying to do that all this week, our last week of shows in this year of 2014. Now, we've got a lot of things that are going to be coming up today, but I want to take care of a little bit of business beforehand. We've been doing our Festival of Toys. We have a toy every hour. We are continuing that through tomorrow. Today's toy, for this hour, the toy of the hour is Camp Discovery. This is that wonderful, wonderful app, ideal if you've got a young learner for those down times in which you want to continue on with the therapy that you've been doing in your home. Like you've got to get dinner, or you have to be on a phone call, and instead of just giving your child the iPad and having them play at something aimlessly, why not be continuing the lessons that you've been doing in your therapy? Camp Discovery gives you the ability to do that, but it does it in a way that the child has no idea that they're doing anything other than playing a game. Hooray, yippee skippy, right? This is a brilliant, brilliant thing. So we want to be able to give the pro version of Camp Discovery to at least one of you in this hour. So make sure that you are on our email list. You can do that on autism-live.com. There's a little icon up at the top on the whiteboard that says join our email list. Make sure that you're on that email list to be eligible, but then you must email me, s.penrod@autism-live.com, and tell me that you want to win Camp Discovery. I don't need a mailing address. I'll just need your email address so that we can send you a code so that you can download that immediately and start working on that with your child. It's a fabulous, fabulous gift both for you and for your child. How much, what better gift could there possibly be? Something that keeps on giving, and that's what this app does. All right, we also like you to know that this entire show is interactive. In just a few moments, we're going to be joined by Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh for Ask Dr. Doreen. And then in the second hour, we have Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson, and our final toy company of the Festival of Toys, we promised you last week, Wicked Cool Toys is going to be with us. They are the wonderful company that last week we gave away that beautiful Disney Princess kitchen to a family that was so excited to hear that they had won that. And we gave away some Crashlings. We have some more Crashlings to give away today. You probably, if you were watching on Thursday, Dr. Jonathan Tarbox and I had a really great time playing with these. I'm going to show it to Dr. Granpeesheh in just a minute. Maybe we'll play a little Crashling as well. So we have some of these that we're going to be giving away, and we have some more Cat Paws. They are the most hilarious toy that there is, but we have some more of those to give away in the next hour. Okay, but in the meantime, we want for you to be interactive with us in every hour that we do here. So Kelby's going to show you some of the different ways that you can get in touch with us, some of the different ways that you can watch the show and be part of the conversation. I'll remind you that our homepage is autism-live.com. When you go there, so much to do. Recipes on our blog, other things on our blog, signing up for the newsletter, and watching all of the shows that we do, whether they're live or recorded. If you click on the triangle that is on the computer screen, you can watch the live show or the most recently recorded live show, or you can click on the playlist icon that's in the upper left-hand corner, and you can cycle through all the shows that we've done to see a topic that you would like to watch. Now, to the side of that are the live feature. It's a series of boxes. Put your cursor in the one that says your questions. Start typing and hit enter. That's all there is. You don't have to log in. There is no username. There is no password. There is no credit card. It's all free and it's all anonymous unless you choose to tell us who you are. You can include your email in your message. If you do, I will not share that with the audience at home. That's our deal. But please participate. It's very reinforcing, if you will, for us when we're able to have a conversation with you. So, with all of that having been said, it is time for Ask Dr. Doreen.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
There you go. Welcome to Ask Dr. Doreen. Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is here with us.
Good morning.
Welcome and happy holidays.
Thank you very much. I assume this is mine.
This is for you. And normally when I give you something, I give it to you right after we're over,
Yes.
and then you open it and you say, why didn't you have me open this on the air? And so this year I'm prepared.
Yes, thank you.
I'm prepared. So I'm going to ask you to open that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to remind everybody that
Thank
Dr.
you.
Granpeesheh is an expert in the field of autism. And in just a few seconds, we're going to have her answer questions that have come from you guys. She's been working with individuals in the autism spectrum for over 30 years. You would never know that to look at her. But she's also a visionary in the field of autism. And we talk all the time about how important it is that things be reinforcing. So I saw that there was something that was particularly very reinforcing to Dr. Granpeesheh. There was something you asked for, and this is, you have to tell me what the ABA term is for this. This is like an intermediary before you get the thing that what you wanted.
Yeah, this is
Because you, we read some letters on the show.
Oh, wow.
And
that's so awesome. Oh, my gosh. Thank you so
and you had
much.
asked for a wall of letters, but we haven't moved yet.
Oh, my gosh. Look at this. Sorry.
So it's a little stand,
That's
and
fabulous. That is
it has
so beautiful.
some letters. By no means all. It's just the beginning of the letters. But I saw how reinforced you
I can't
were.
believe you did this. This is so fantastic.
And you didn't get to see the pictures that came with the
No,
letters, so I
know.
included a little picture of each one of
Oh my
the things
God,
that
this is
came, so that you
wonderful.
can set that on a desk or on a table somewhere to remind you of the great and brilliant work that you do.
Oh, no, thank you so much, Shannon. You have no idea how meaningful this is for me. I love this. These are individual kids. Look at this picture. Oh, my God.
I know, precious babies.
This is giving me goosebumps, first of all, but this is so pretty. What a beautiful item, by the way.
Well,
This is
you know,
a nice setup, too.
it's a serviceable thing that we tried to make a little pretty because, you know, finding a way, because you had asked for them to all be on the wall, and eventually we will do that. But I didn't want you to wait.
This is amazing. Like,
I'm
it
glad
is
you
the
like
most
it.
amazing thing ever. You know, because
And we'll put some more in,
thank
too.
You so
That's as
much.
many as
Yeah,
I
please.
had time
That's
to put in, but
awesome.
I left
love it.
room for
Oh my
more.
God, thank you.
Thank
you
you
so much. I
Thank
love
you for
this.
the work that you do. And we should
No,
say
I really
that
appreciate
these
that. It's
particular letters
This
are
is the most meaningful gift, honestly, of all. This is the most amazing. I mean, this tells me kind of, you know, what I've done my whole life meant something.
And it does.
That's really just the most touching thing. It's amazing. And I'd love to share it with guardians,
Yes.
like all over, because I get to see these things and it really impacts my life. And this is what keeps me going. This is my energy. This is these are my vitamins, you know? And I often wish that I could just have every single therapist see these, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe I'll ask you to help me replicate them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how you found such a beautiful display as well. This is amazing. And I think it's so important for our people to know these stories, you know?
Yes.
It's interesting because this morning you were very generous and wrote an email saying we still have some toys to give out to kids and who are the kids who need them. And I just wanted to tell you, if you come and look at my desk, on my right screen, I have two screens. On my right screen is the Act Today list of grant applicants. And it's literally a list of, it's sad to say, but it's over 1,000 now. And you scroll down and it's just this huge chart of names, and it shows you sort of column by column the child's age and needs. and what the family's applying for, and then the family's narrative. And I took this out because I'm in charge of the grants giving committee at Act Today, and I started looking at it a few days ago, and it's devastating because like you just can't believe how people are handling. It's pretty unbelievable. But it is the foundation of Act Today. It's the reason we opened Act Today, and we, which is of course our nonprofit organization. And we used to, before it got carried away, when it was at a point where we'd be getting like 100 grants every quarter or something. Now it's more like several hundred. But at that point, we used to actually take them to the board meeting, read them at the board meeting, all of us on the board, and it was always really fascinating how we obviously can't support all the families and everything they need. But what we would do is, like, it would get to the point, we'd give away all our money, right? And then at the end, there would be a few people left, and the board members would be just, like, going around and saying, like, I'll take this one, I'll support that one personally, you know, and we'd just take care of the whole batch. And it was, like, the most amazing feeling. Now, unfortunately, there's thousands of kids writing into us and families, and the needs are so diverse, and you know, Act Today helps everything, right? It's not just ABA. In fact, we don't do a lot of ABA support because ABA is expensive. And Act Today grants are up to $5,000 per child per year. And so a lot of times our support has to do more with things like technology. We give away a lot of iPads, or things like safety equipment, fencing, and so on. So I was just going through these the other day and assigning what I could with the money we have right now. And then I realized, oh my God, you know what? We're going to start now a new program at CARD, which this is the first time I'm publicly announcing it, and it's going to be called CARD Cares. And what we will do is CARD will start out we'll take 20 kids, and because we'll ask each of our offices to sponsor a child, and we will of course give the first 500 to the child, and then have our office staff support the child with however they want. It doesn't have to be money. It could also be toys or just letters or gifts or whatever it is. And actually, it's not going to be kids who are local. None of these kids are CARD kids, because I thought to myself, if you're a CARD kid, you're already in a better place. Like, we give you support to some extent.
It's not that CARD families don't need other things, but
they do.
Those kids are so far and ahead above so many other kids, and that's devastating to realize.
And you're part of an organization where if you have someone to turn to, let's put it that way. If you have a need, you can turn to us. These families out there have no one, you know, and I have a lot of families coming in from states where there are no mandates, like Georgia. And you know, we always think we have it worse, but when you read other people's stories, let me tell you, I have single moms with 3 children, 2 of whom are autistic, living on food stamps, asking for help with food. I mean, literally, that is the kind of application that I'm talking about. So I picked a whole bunch of them, and right now Act Today is asking the families whether we have permission to share their information with the CARD staff, right? Because it's a different organization than Act Today. And if they allow that, then I will ask each office to just pick a child and sponsor for half a year, and then we'll switch and do another child, and that way CARD will be giving out $20,000 as well to these kids to match these donations. And we just want to help the kids. You know, I can give $1,000, but if my staff can help match it as well, then it's $2,000, and of course that
makes a much bigger difference.
And you know, for the last year, you may know that a lot of CARD therapists, and I'm very, very proud of them for this. They do a giving program where they have a certain number of dollars taken out of every paycheck for Act Today kids, and I believe we're up to somewhere close to $1,000 a month now. I mean, it's fabulous that the CARD therapists are doing that. That's all them. But, you know, I want them to see this. That was my point.
We can make that
happen. Someone said we give away, even if it's $2 from your paycheck, you still want to know where it's going. And that's the beauty of Act Today. You know, Act Today only has like Nancy and like 3 employees, and it's not a lot of people. And it's actually 2.5 employees, Amy, Nancy, and Elizabeth, and it's just unbelievable what they accomplished, truly.
I always say, if you want to know about Act Today, visit their offices and you will know how much of the money goes to the kids, because there was a period of time, I think now Nancy has an actual place to put a computer, but she had a tray table that she was putting her laptop on for the longest time, because she was like, I'm not gonna, office.
They have one room.
It's an
they
office.
Have one room in one of our offices, and it's literally the size of this studio, and there's 3 people in there, and 100 boxes. I mean, it's the craziest.
Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. But you see that they're driven,
and that's the thing. We just don't want to spend it on anything.
It's
just
to the bone.
It on our families.
It's money well spent. I always say, I'm very choosy about what I'll give to. Act Today is the best charity to give to, because you know it's going to go to the families for things that the families need. There are so many wonderful charities. I don't mean to diss other charities, but as a parent, it's wonderful that you can ask for what you need. So if one family needs a trampoline, they can ask for that. And another family needs a fence, they can ask for that. Another family needs an advocate, they can ask for that.
That's right.
It's not one size fits all, because autism isn't one size fits all.
That's right.
So I love that.
And we have a lot of needs. People are writing in with all sorts of requests right now, and I picked the ones where I feel like, so for instance, like we want to support a lot of our kids' need, and mostly, I love all my kids from age 1 to 30. I don't care. I love them all in different ways, but I feel like the world has given a lot of support to younger kids, and our adolescents and adults have not had the attention and help that they need. And a lot of the ones that I was looking at the other day are teenagers and adults who are non-communicative, and they're only, like, the parents know that the way for them to communicate is an iPad. Yeah. And so we're buying a lot of iPads, and we're hoping to be able to give a lot of those away. So, to sum up that long thing, I love this. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful gift.
Thank you for everything that you do.
I really appreciate it. And please,
it's just a manifestation of what you do, just a small manifestation of just a small section of what you do, which is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you could later tell me where you got this beautiful thing and how you made these, because
it's so simple. You're going to go, oh, okay. She did nothing.
Michael's. It's the best
all
thing
about
ever.
Michael's. And I will tell you too, I have one for Nancy as well.
Do you? That's fabulous.
So,
I mean, I'm gonna make these, and if you don't mind, I'll ask you right after the show, because if I can make this and send one to each office for Christmas, they'd love that.
Okay, we can make that happen.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and have Dr. Granpeesheh answer questions from all of you. Stick with us.
Hi guys, welcome back to Smarty. This month we're going to be making a wreath of thanks, and as we work on this activity, you'll notice that these icons will pop up. These icons tell you important information about the skills we'll be using to make this activity and where to find them on the Skills program. Skills is an ABA-based online tool that helps parents create curriculum for their children that are on the autism spectrum. And if you're already a Skills user, this will help you get the most out of this fun activity. Well, let's get started. The materials you'll be needing are a paper plate, a hole puncher, scissors, colored pencils or crayons, brackets, and craft paper. So step 1, you're going to take your paper plate and you're going to cut out the center of this so it becomes just a hollow ring for your wreath. Once the center of the paper plate has been removed, you're going to take your hole puncher and make holes along the edge. Step 3, you're going to take out your construction paper and you're going to have your child and your family members lay their hand upon it, and you're going to trace out the shape of their hand. Once their hand has been traced, then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut out the hands. At the base of each hand, you're going to take your hole puncher and make a single hole punch in it. The holidays are about being thankful, so on each hand, you're going to have your child put something on there that they're thankful for. Once your messages have been written on the hands, you're going to place them on the circle. You're going to use your brackets to hold them in place. So your finished wreath will be a wonderful reminder of all the things that you're happy and hopeful for, and it will help you bring in the new year with such wonderful joy. Well, I hope you enjoyed this activity with me, and until next time, craft on guys. Bye. To find more about Skills and to access all of the lessons you saw in today's Smarty, visit skillsforautism.com and click on the parent icon. Skills. the online autism solution.
Welcome back to Autism Live and to Ask Dr. Doreen. We're here with Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh, and she is answering your questions. We always like to remind you at the start of the show that even the wonderful expert that she is, there is no expert that could give individual specific advice in this format. It would be a disservice to the individuals in question. So we love it when you give us as much information as possible so that she can give you some tips and hints from her expertise so that you might know what steps and what questions you might want to ask next.
Right.
And we thank you for that support that you give us. Okay, so our first question here. Good morning, Shannon and Dr. Doreen. How do we teach our older kids to recognize the need for help? My 14-year-old is sound sensitive, and I didn't realize how much it impacts him. My husband was using the hairdryer, and I happened to walk into his room to ask him about breakfast. He was covering his ears and curled up in fear. Before, we assumed he was taking his time getting ready in the morning. Now we realize it's the hairdryer that causes him to freeze. Last night he woke up from thunder and was stressed about hearing more, and thank you for any ideas, and thanks for taking my convoluted question. Not convoluted at all.
No, it's a great question.
And I'm wondering if you live near me, because we had thunder that was so loud last
Scary.
night, it woke me up.
Yeah.
And I thought, what on earth was that?
Yeah.
Because we don't get a lot of thunder here.
No, we don't.
So,
No,
but it
that's
was
a great
loud.
question. That's a very good question, and there's a very easy solution to this. So, buy him some noise-canceling headphones first of all, and just begin. And I don't. Did they say if the child is verbal or non-verbal?
They didn't say.
Right. So, to me, verbal and non-verbal doesn't really matter. The idea of verbalizing is pretty much the same as touching an icon. So what I would do though is you first start with every time that a noise is about to happen. Let's say the hairdryer, which is a very good example because it's on a set schedule. It happens, let's say, every morning. Prior to that, you simply go over to the child and just have him repeat headphones and put the headphones on him, and then go ahead and do the hairdryer. And that in itself will be rewarding because it allows him to avoid the noise. So it'll become something that very quickly he'll understand is a good thing. And that's it. And then from there, he will begin to do it himself. He will begin to put the headphones on himself because it's so rewarding. And then if you want, you can also, if you say the label every time, then he'll understand what it is. And then you will gradually fade out just by saying head, and then he'll say headphones. Then you'll just say, and then he'll say headphones. You shape out your prompting, fade out your prompting, and then he'll be asking for headphones. And if he doesn't like headphones in the beginning, if they're kind of freaky to him, then you do that as a shaping procedure. So you just put it on him for 1 second, and you reward him, and you put it on 2 seconds and you reward him. But I'm pretty sure that he'll find it very rewarding, because especially when he sees that you're turning on the hairdryer and he has to be able to see it, but it doesn't bother him, he'll be very, very happy. And then it'll generalize. You'll teach him to use it in other circumstances. Like another good example of something is a vacuum. A lot of kids are afraid of the vacuum sound. Or flushing. There's another one that kids don't like. There's a lot of things like that, and you can just teach him each time. It's just modeling, and he will do it.
And I love that answer, but I'm wondering about the bigger question about, there are so many, I've had this happen with Jem sometimes, that I find out after the fact something that was bothering him, but he didn't know, he didn't feel empowered enough, or he didn't realize that it could be changed if he would just let me know. How do we help our kids to speak up and say, this is really bothersome to me, before it's the point where they're on the floor covering their ears? Right.
So you're coming at it from the perspective of the mom of Jem, who is a child who's has the capability to actually address it that way.
Okay.
Most of our kids aren't there yet. They're not quite at the point where they can actually identify all the things that bother them and then vocalize that they bother them. That's essentially what you want him to do.
Yeah.
Right, so do that. Have him start a list.
Okay.
Which is, these are the things that I don't like, right? That bother me, and why. Also, like they're too loud, or it's too bright, or whatever it is. So a list of items. And then solutions. So have him write out. Like, noises bother me because they're too loud, and I can ask mom for help, or I can put on my headphones, or I can go to another room, or stuff like that. So What you're doing is you're organizing what's in his head already, and you're empowering him by adding yourself as a solution.
Okay.
Right? Most of the time, actually, a lot of kids, especially our kids, Shannon, because they're so used to tolerating.
Yeah.
Because the world is not perfect for them.
Yeah.
So they're used to tolerating, and secondly, they're used to using negative, challenging behaviors in order to get their needs met, because normally either they don't have the ability to ask for help, or when they have in the past, nobody understood why or didn't get it. So now they have to kind of act out to get someone's attention. So it's very, it's kind of contraindicated. It doesn't make sense to them that I can ask for help and they'll help me. You know?
Absolutely.
But I mean, it's such a, wouldn't worry about it, because as long as you just keep reminding Jem that, you know, you can ask for help, you know, like, or you can ask me to change that, or what are some, let's sit down and talk about it. What are some things that we could do to make this different?
And I will say we get to that eventually, but it's always after he's been miserable for a while. But maybe I just need to hang a form somewhere on the wall that's like Jem's concerns, where he can write it down whenever he wants to and remind him that.
Well, the other problem could be, and you have to realize this is very typical to all kids, is that they don't recognize that they've been miserable for a while.
That's it.
So it's not necessarily
It's not
that
just
once
autism.
I'm miserable, I know I can go to mom for help. But they're busy doing something else, and it's kind of like, it's a gradual increase of their tolerance level. So they don't, it's not like you're not going from light to dark. You know what I mean? It's a gradual process, kind of like weight gain. So if you're gaining weight, you gradually, your clothes get tighter and tighter gradually until they get uncomfortable. Right?
That's
so it's
true.
not like you become aware that, oh, I've gained weight all of a sudden. So that with the kids, it's more, and that is self-regulation. So they're not quite aware of their happiness level. So if that's it, then what you need to do is, at random times, just ask, can you tell me about yourself right now? How do you feel in the environment? You know, this is like a big problem for our kids. A lot of our kids just walk over stuff. They don't, or on top of things, knock into things. You know, they're not aware of their own body and space. So it's kind of like, how do you feel right now? And give them like 5 checkpoints, you know? Sleepiness level or tiredness level. Rate it, you know, happy face, medium, or sad, whatever. How's your, and teach him to self-regulate. Like, okay, I don't feel sleepy. I don't have any pain. That would be another one that's very important. Perhaps like sensory stuff, like noises bothering you or something like that. Anxiety would be another really good one. Are you worried about anything, you know? So like 5 checkpoints, like these are the things, and ask him like twice a day, 3 times a day, and have him rate it. And I promise you, and if you do it for a week, he'll start just doing it himself. He'll start checking in on himself.
I love this. That's great.
It's good for us.
I can already see a checklist. Maybe we'll make a checklist and have that available on the website in January. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back with more of your questions. One in particular, we've had several different parents write in wanting more access to skills and wanting to know why they only have limited access. So we're going to take that question when we come back. Stick with us.
Hi, Lisa Ackerman back with your Talk of Facts, the autism journey questions and answers that you need to help your child make the progress they need. I'm here to talk to you about one really important item. A lot of people ask me the question, well, Lisa, I want to see this specialist in another state. How do I do that? You know, I don't own a jet. I don't have the ability to fly without great pain and travel. Not a problem. We know how to get this done. So I actually encourage families, even though in travel can be a tremendous hardship, getting a child with autism through security, through the plane, and in the journey to where they need to go. We have a whole white paper on TACA about how to travel with special needs kids. So it can be done. So travel, we know that can be expensive. Not everyone has an unlimited supply of cash for air flights. We love and work with this group called miracleflights.org. They're fantastic. They will fly you and your child, so one parent, one adult, anywhere in the United States, one time a year. Also in the TACA document are places to stay. So often you will have people in your life that love and support your family and don't know exactly how to help. ask them to gift you their travel or their rewards cards or coupons for hotel, rental car. That's a great way to be able to get maybe a hotel room that has a refrigerator or a microwave and that's close to a Whole Foods, so you don't have that added cost of going out to dinner, especially if your kid has a lot of allergies. It's important to note that there's not a pediatrician or a specialist by every Starbucks in the United States. Close does not always equal best. So I bring up the travel point so you know that travel is possible, number one, and often it's really going to help you get down the road faster for your kid and getting the answers you need from the specialist that knows what to do. So don't be afraid to travel.
Welcome back to Autism Live and to Ask Dr. Doreen. Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is here with us and she is answering your questions. We've had several questions, as I mentioned, come in the last week. 3 different parents writing in. This one in particular said, my son is 12 and in the 6th grade. He started with CARD end of August 2014. I love learning from Ask Dr. Doreen. One repeating strong advice from Shannon and Dr. Granpeesheh is to use skills. But for CARD clients, we aren't granted access to the full version, only a very restricted one. Why is that? When we can learn and be more knowledgeable partners with CARD to help our kids.
Right. I know of one restriction that's placed. See, for CARD clients, our system is that all of the data, we're assured, let's put it this way, we are assured that there's accurate and complete data collection. So what happens is all of our staff goes through this process of training where on their iPad, they're inputting data. And as they input the data, the iPad collects all of that data and throws it into skills right away, so that it's live essentially, so that at any given time a supervisor can look at your skills data and it's not something that someone else has gone in and put in by hand. So because there's a lot of, that's not actual valid data, right? If what we used to do before we had this capacity and what others do is that they do paper and pencil data and then they summarize it. So, that's fine. And then you put the data, you have to actually manually enter the data into skills, right? So the acquisition and all of that. So this is, it took 10 trials on this day and so on and so on. And that's a lot of work. And it sometimes is not as accurate, obviously. So we set up this whole system where it would allow the data to enter live, right? So that when someone's putting in the trials, it goes straight in. And right now we've rolled out the DCT and NET formats of data collection. So because of that, we can't give parents access to the data collection portion, because we can't allow that to be changed, and it's not non-modifiable. If I enter data at a session and then a supervisor goes in and modifies it later, it's kind of wrong, right?
It's like falsifying.
It's falsifying it. You don't want to touch the data once it's been entered, because it's real data. It is what happened. So data, once it's entered, can't be touched. It can't be touched by parents or anyone else, actually. And the reason that happens with CARD clients is that CARD is the only organization that uses the iPad, the whole system we've built. We've built a huge system, which I think will go public pretty soon, and we'll send it out to everyone. But it's a really awesome system of data collection. Now, other aspects as well. Now, so there's other things, for instance, I just thought of. Let's say now I'm thinking of several different reasons. So for instance, let's say medication entry. Like it's extremely important to us that we collect records on medication. And so someone will input what the medication is, or dietary, or whatever it is. If change access occurs, so if a parent can go in and change something, it's going to cause problems, because the multidisciplinary timeline shows duration of time. So it'll show from here to here the child was doing this, and from here to here, and so on. And that's true of pretty much anything. So I can't imagine why you don't have read-only access. You should have read-only access to the whole thing. In other words, parents should be able to view everything.
Yeah.
But just not change it. That's the only thing.
And here's the empowering thing about that for me is that if you want to, the old way that it used to be done was to take the data on paper. If you want to take data on paper as a parent, you can still do that.
Yeah, and I don't think...
I don't know many parents that are like, ooh, I want to take data.
Yeah, and I don't think that's... I'm not sure. Actually, when Shannon read me the question, I quickly, on the last break, sent an email to the Director of Skills, Aliana, and asked, what's the limited access that parents have? Because I don't want you to have limited access. We'd very much like you to learn from skills and see the whole thing. I think the portion that we have to maintain limited is the modification, like being able to modify something that's already input, including programming.
Yeah.
Now, here's another thing that I think is actually, it's pretty valid. I will make sure you have access to everything else. I know one of the things that supervisors have complained about to me is that if parents go in and see all of skills, like all the possible things, they will keep coming back and saying, I want to go to this program, I want to go to that program, why aren't you teaching this? And it ends up taking a ton of time just to explain to them that we are in the right place right now, we will gradually get there, and so on and so forth. But from my perspective, I like empowering parents, and I like the discussion and debate, because obviously parents are the owners of the child, and they're the ones that get to have a say about it. And I like the fact that it forces my supervisors to actually justify what they're doing.
Exactly.
So, you know, from my perspective, it's a dialogue moment. And I think I've never, ever put in a program that the parent didn't agree with.
Right.
Ever. In 30 years, ever. Yeah. So I feel like it's always a kind of a decision that you make together in terms of what's most important and where do we want to go. So I'll look into that, and I'll make sure that we give access to everything except data. Do keep in mind that when we do these changes to skills, it's quite a process, and there's like a big wait list right now of changes that need to be made. So it might take a little bit of time, but not too long.
Okay, great. Next question. I was hoping we could get a fence in our yard to make it easier to keep my children safe at the same time, because my child will wander and I have to leave my 3-year-old standing on her own to retrieve my 6-year-old son. My husband doesn't want a fence for several reasons. My son has a GPS watch, but what can I do to get him fresh air with his sister and keep them both safe? Any creative ideas? He has autism with significant ADHD and ODD behavior. And we don't know what the reasons are for Dad not wanting a fence, but we did just mention that Act Today, if one of them is that you don't want to invest in a fence because you're leaving, and but you need the fence right now, there is a special part of Act Today that's called SOS, which you can apply for a grant any time of year when it's a safety and when it's a life and death issue, and fences are included in that.
Absolutely.
And they will help you to be able to get the fence.
Yeah, we do fencing a lot. It's one of our big things, actually. We have found fencing contractors even all over the country. But yeah, I do support that very much. I mean, putting in a fence is such an easy solution to it, so that I'm not sure I can think of. I mean, you know, a fence probably serves the function just the same as, I don't know what these things are called. They're like a vest that I've seen young children wear, just typically developing children, and it kind of has a leash on it, you know, and it expands. So like you can go about 20 feet and it'll retract and stuff, and I think that's for safety as well, so the parent can manage multiple children. That would work, but it's a little bit harder than a fence because it kind of gets tangled if you go too far. So I'm not, you know, and obviously, ultimately, if you have a BCBA working with you, the goal is to teach your child not to run away and teach your child safety. But that's not something that you can do in a moment. It's a number of different steps which help the child identify what's dangerous and become somewhat fearful of what's dangerous. So that's not a quick fix. Short of that, I mean, those are the only ideas I can really give right now.
They even have they have harnesses that are made in different characters. At one point, Jem, when he was really little, had a Winnie the Pooh harness that had the leash, and then later on he had like a Star Wars one. They had like a Yoda one, I think he had.
Absolutely.
And he still, I mean, he had one of those until like when we would go to Disneyland or something like that, because we're both older parents, and my ability to run after him, and the child would just run.
Yeah.
But once we were working with therapists, that very quickly went away, and the harness got to go away.
Right.
But you've got to prioritize
absolutely.
safety over everything else, including what your husband feels about, like aesthetically, what a fence like. We don't know what the husband's objections to the fence are, but if it's mostly monetary, apply for a grant.
Yes.
And if it's other things that are cosmetic and whatever, you know, you have to prioritize your child's safety while you work on these things.
Absolutely agree.
It's got to be the priority. What I don't want is for you to send me back an email sometime in the future and you say to me, I wish I had taken this more seriously. Every week we get notifications here at Autism Live of individuals of all ages on the autism spectrum who are missing, and we know that over 50% of our kids will elope. They've done studies on that, and you know, the statistics of who comes back okay is devastating. So this is as serious as a heart attack. I don't mean to, you know, wreck your day, but make this your priority to make sure that you are as safe as you can possibly be. Especially when you've got a little one. If you're having to choose, I mean, for me, that's Sophie's choice. Running away from one small child to run after your other child, you know, I can't imagine anything worse.
It's very difficult, and my initial concern was just hearing your email, like, how are you coping? Like, that must be a really difficult situation for you. And and a fence is such a fast and easy solution.
Yeah, it's not the be-all, end-all. You still got to be working on stuff, but
Absolutely.
at least it puts something there in place that will help. You can get your kids out, get them fresh air, and get them in the sunshine, and not be in constant worry having that pit in the bottom of your stomach.
That's right.
So anyway, I'm going to move on to this next question, which I find really interesting. Dr. Doreen, does CARD incorporate pivotal response therapy into children's programs when appropriate? If yes, how and when is it most appropriate? And if not, why? Thank you for all your help week after week, and a big thanks to Shannon. I thank you for being here and asking that question. I love it.
Thank you very much. I'll be honest, I don't think we really incorporate the concepts of pivotal response therapy. You know, pivotal response is based on the premise that you will you teach specific skills that are pivotal in terms of developing other skills. So, for instance, I would, you know, I don't know, I would teach you, let's say, the skill of eye contact, and then hope that that will lead to several different things. Or I will teach you the skill of something, and pivotal skills, by the way, alter by environmental factors. So in different settings, a skill can be pivotal or not. But regardless, they're the sort of key skills or the important skills that lead to other things. You know, the only reason I would say that we don't really go with that concept is that we teach pretty much every skill unless we see the child developing it naturally. So we're not selectively saying these are the skills that are pivotal in this situation, and I don't have to teach anything beyond that. We kind of go ahead and teach the other skills. We even really intensely work on generalization. You know, in PRT you don't do a lot of generalization work because the assumption is that generalization really occurs by itself because you've taught the pivotal skills. You know, we do a lot of generalization work. We actually alter the people, we alter the setting, we alter the stimuli, we alter things so that the child, we teach every concept in 4 or 5 different ways. And the way that we do that, the reason we do that is so that the child, the skill generalizes. Now, skills generalize, you can change the stimulus, so for instance, the setting, the person teaching, or the environment, and that's leads to what's called stimulus generalization. That means the child will learn to do the same behavior with different stimuli, with different people in different settings, different times, and so on. But what you're hoping for is response generalization, is that you want the child, when they learn, let's say this is yellow, then they also know that this is yellow. So it generalizes from one thing, or they will know response generalization is if I want someone to give me something, they'll give it to me, but they'll also learn to point to it. The behavior actually changes. And so we work on those concepts. We don't depend on teaching a pivotal skill to generalize automatically. So that's the only reason. We just go ahead and teach it. The reason for that we do it this way is because I don't think that, I just think it's more effective this way. I don't want to say anything against PRT. I think PRT is a very smart and genius discovery, and I have a lot of respect for the Kegels who came up with this process. But from my perspective, it takes too much time. I see all of my kids very, very differently, and it takes too much time to want to identify pivotal skills for each child and what I can and cannot teach. So I might as well just start teaching, and as soon as I see the child's picked it up, I'll move past it. But it's just faster for our kids, and hey, it's a refresher. If they know it, I'll just move on.
I will say from a parent's perspective that I think that all the things that you're wanting to get from pivotal response training, you get that and much more.
Right, you get a lot more. You just do a lot more. PRT is
that's
not...
my experience.
Right.
So we're gonna take one quick break, and then we're gonna come back with two questions that I really want to get to before we get to the end. So stick with us.
Hi, welcome to Camp Discovery, a free-to-play suite of fun, interactive learning games for kids 2 and up. Designed by experts in autism, Camp Discovery will open your early learner to a world of new skills, shapes, numbers, colors, locations, emotions, and more. Let's get started.
Please choose a level.
Objects. First, Camp Discovery's Intelligent Preference Assessment determines your child's preferred reward for choosing correctly. Okay, got it. Let's play. Camp Discovery creates a motivating learning environment for your child by minimizing incorrect responses and maximizing successful ones.
Find the shoes.
Respond correctly and your child is rewarded with their favorite animations.
You did it.
Respond incorrectly and our unique prompting system guides your child to the correct answer by making it the largest choice.
That's not it. Try again. Way to go.
Continue to answer correctly and the size gradually reduces until the child makes the correct choice independently.
You win.
Success! Rewards motivate learning. Complete a round and your child is rewarded with a fun mini-game. Track your child's progress with easy-to-read graphs. Multiple settings options allow you to customize Camp Discovery to your child's unique needs. All this in one single app, the Camp Discovery app, available for free on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon Store.
Welcome back to Autism Live and to Ask Dr. Doreen. We're here with Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh, and she is answering your questions. I'm going to move right along. My 3-year-old girl was recently diagnosed with high-functioning autism and sensory processing disorder and expressive language disorder. We have Medicaid, but want to know our options as far as how to help her get in with CARD. I actually do ABA with a family that uses CARD services and have been with them for 6 years. I've always enjoyed the training and workshops, but now that it pertains to my own daughter, I'm lost. She's very aggressive and lashes out, but it's mainly due to sensory overload. What are the best things we can do for her until we are able to get ABA services? And they said, thanks, I love the show and you, Dr. Granpeesheh.
That's wonderful, thank you. What were the diagnoses? Sensory processing?
High-functioning autism,
sensory,
sensory processing disorder, and expressive language disorder.
Right. So you should be able to get funding right now, right away.
Medicaid.
Yeah, you should be able to get funding.
But I don't think it's California.
Oh,
I don't.
Yes, of course, that has to do with where you are, obviously.
Because I feel like, please, if you're still watching, write and tell us what state you're in. But I feel like we had a question from these circumstances before, and I'm feeling it's Virginia or possibly West Virginia. So write
Virginia has funding, and I don't know about West Virginia. So what I would do is, and instead of telling us, because I'm not sure we would even know which states at this point, but you can always contact our, well, there's 2 departments here that you can contact. One is our public policy department, Julie Kornack, who can give you a lot of information about Medicaid, and another one is our contracts department, Bryce Myler at CARD. Both of those are Center for Autism server URLs. and you can go on our website and access those departments, and they can give you a lot more information about funding. You are eligible, your child is eligible, obviously, if they have an autism diagnosis, they're eligible for these services, and I think you should get the services right away.
Yeah.
It is very common, I think, that kids develop aggressive behaviors because they have sensory overload.
Yeah.
And from a behavioral perspective, there's always two things you can do. You can always do antecedent modifications or consequence modifications. So the antecedent modifications in this case would be very important, and those are modify things in the environment that produce the sensory overload or sensory harshness to the child. So for instance, don't use lights that are very harsh. Have mild yellow lighting in each room. Try to avoid noises that are extremely harsh on the child. Try to give the child things that they can use to to protect themselves from those environmental stimuli, as we talked, like noise-canceling headphones or those types of things. There's a lot you can do from a sensory perspective. You should probably consult with a occupational therapist who has sensory integration training, but we've learned over the years there's a million different things. I mean, children have different needs. There are certain sensory exercises and activities you do that can calm a child, and there are some that can increase the activity level of the child. So you have to sort of, it's very specific for each child. Some of the kids don't have sensory overload, they have a sensory needs. They sort of have needs of, needing pressure on their skin or needing to be held very tightly or those types of things, or even brushing helps calm some of our children. So that's the antecedent modifications. In terms of the consequence modifications, obviously you have to identify why the aggression is occurring, what is the child trying to achieve or accomplish, and then you have to make sure that they don't accomplish that, but that they request in a much appropriate, better way. Aggression is always frustration or trying to communicate something. So it could be pain, it could be frustration, it could be these noises are too loud, whatever it is, or it could be wanting access to something. But it's a learned form of communication. The child is trying to communicate something. Figure out what it is the child's trying to communicate, teach them a better way, and then give them the object that they're wanting, or reinforce them for that. But I mean, that's a very short way of answering you. And when you have a child who's already aggressive, it's important to get professional help, because it can become harmful and it can get worse. But one resource for you, because it sounded like you have familiarity with some of our programs through work you have done with other kids.
She's in West Virginia, and so I think she works with a family who is getting remote services.
Right.
So
you're what we would call a workshop therapist. So what I would suggest you do is you should get on the IBT website, Institute for Behavioral Training.
So go to ibehavioraltraining.com.
Right, ibehavioraltraining.com. Very important to go there. Just go straight to modules that talk about aggression and how to control challenging behaviors, and also sensory issues and so on. Find the modules that apply to you or that you would like to learn more about. Get on there and learn those, because those are the techniques. Our book would be possibly very useful to you. Evidence-based treatments for children with autism, the CARD model. And then I think on top of that, of course, if you have the ability, it's hard when you're doing it for your own child, but I mean, if you have the ability, set up an actual program and have therapists and other people try to come in and help. In the past, when there was no insurance funding, I would have families in remote areas, and what they would do is just get their neighbors and everyone from town would put in 2 hours here and there, and I swear it helped. I mean, it really does help.
Absolutely. And so all of that, I'm going to condense that down for you and say, I would advise you to call the 800 number for CARD, which you can find on centerforautism.com, and tell them where you are and what your services are. They'll hook you up with Bryce to see what funding you have available to do that.
That's a great idea.
And then go to ibehavioraltraining.com. I don't don't know that they're a therapist for this family. I think they're working in a different capacity for the family, maybe babysitting or something like that. So I want to encourage you to go to ibehavioraltraining.com, and there's that whole RBT training. You could start that, become a registered behavior therapist to be able to help your child and other families as well, while you're getting ready to do all this. And then at some point, when you get all that in place, you're going to want to sign up to get at least the first 14-day free trial of Skills to take a look there to see some lessons. You got a lot of work ahead of you, but it sounds like you're the right person, and that your child is very lucky to have you, and that you have this family that you have a relationship with that can also tell you how much hope there is.
And connect with whoever the supervisor of the cases where you've seen our programs, because they can also try to guide you and get you through to us.
Absolutely, and keep in touch with us. And she did write and say she was in West Virginia. I want to just say for a second how scary it is that I don't even know you, but I could figure out from the email your voice is very particular, and I can't remember my own personal zip code, but I knew that you were in Virginia or West Virginia. That frightens me.
That's so strange.
It's very strange. My mind only pays attention to things it wants to pay attention to. But you're on my radar, and so that's a wonderful thing. We'll hold hands. We'll get through this together, right? Okay, so. Want to go to, hi ladies, can we teach our kids sympathy? My son laughs when his siblings cry.
Yes, oh gosh, that's such a big issue actually. It's not as easy as you would imagine. It's not one concept alone. Sympathy, if you kind of break it down and analyze what it is, it comes from the concept of it's a very complicated concept. It depends on numerous things. So for instance, if you see someone crying, a typical person would look at the person crying and think, first of all, they'd have to have the skill of recognizing that crying means they are hurt or in pain or upset or sad. Okay. Then you have to be able to connect with that emotion enough to feel what it is. And realistically, the reason human beings show sympathy is because they fear feeling it themselves. So it's an instance where we put ourselves in someone else's shoes, and then it makes us fearful because we momentarily understand and feel how they're feeling. And so in order to be able to do that, the number one skill you have to have, which a lot of our kids are lacking, is theory of mind, perspective taking. You have to be able to take someone else's perspective in order to understand and give sympathy. So that then says that you have to teach the child perspective taking, and that is a whole curriculum. So, to guide you, if you get on Skills, and because there's just way too many for me to list here, but if you get on Skills for autism.com and go to the curriculum that's called cognitive curriculum, that's the section you want to be in. The vast majority of the lessons in the cognitive curriculum teach perspective taking, because perspective taking is more than just understanding how someone feels. It's also understanding things like what they're thinking and why are they thinking those things and how are they interpreting things. And, when someone feels a certain way, is it common or is it unusual for that person? And where does it fit in with the rest of there's a lot in terms of perspective taking. So we've broken it down into developmentally more and more advanced ways of teaching perspective taking, and that's what's available on that curriculum, cognition. So I would really start teaching Skills asks you, can your child do this? Can your child do this? And so on. So you'll answer yes or no, and then you start with the most basic, and then you'll build up from there. And in the meantime, obviously, you want to make sure your child knows that it's more hurtful to the siblings when he laughs at them. Like laughing at someone is not very good. Like, in other words, you want your child to know it's not a good behavior, laughing at someone when they're crying. But it's not going to make a whole lot of sense to the child until you teach them perspective taking.
Okay. And I'm going to squeeze one question, but we only have 30 seconds. My son is 7 and has autism and came home with a broken collarbone.
Oh my God.
The teacher said he was sitting on a ball in the class and that he fell off. I think they're covering something up. Should I file a lawsuit?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. I can't answer that. I don't know. Breaking a collarbone is not that easy. It's not like you can actually fall off of a ball, and I'm not sure what he would have landed on. If anything, I would at least talk with a physician who is taking care of him and say, is it possible to fall off of a ball and break your collarbone? And then I would probably ask a lot of questions, because then I think that you will be able to tell just from the reaction you get whether there's more to investigate or not. If you have suspicions, certainly go ahead and tell the school and have an investigation done. But I try to always have a more positive view on things and hope that those people who are in school and involved with special education have better intentions and more positive motives. But they also may have a lot of fear, and accidents do happen, but it's pretty sad.
And I just like we said at the beginning of the show, I think the priority has got to be find out if your child is safe.
Find out if your child is safe, and if you can, do frequent 20-minute observations, which they are legally they can't prevent you from doing that. You don't have to let them know ahead of time. You can drop in. Or if you really are suspicious, there's a lot of items now, for instance, pen that has a hidden camera in it, and you can just put it in your child's backpack. There's a lot of different hidden cameras items that you can put with your child, so that if you don't see, you can at least hear what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. But ensure that your child is safe and that nothing untoward is happening and that they're going to be okay. I think that's the first order of business. We're so out of time, but thank you so much for a wonderful year.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
We'll be back on January 7th with you. So, and I apologize that we didn't get to even half of the questions today that came in, not even half of them. So we hang on to them, continue to write in. We do our level best to get as much as we can, but happy holidays to you and your whole family.
You and to our audience.
And to them as well.
Let's pray for a wonderful 2015.
Absolutely.
And a lot of health and happiness and peace for everyone.
And hope, our favorite four-letter word. Yes. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to go to the A word now. This is the ongoing documentary being made by the Center for Autism and Related Disorders following a little boy, Jack Riley, who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. When we come back, we'll be joined by Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson for Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy, and we have Wicked Cool Toys visiting us today. Can you get it any better than Wicked Cool Toys? But first, take a look. This is the A word.
I know a cute little blue-eyed boy, and his name is Jack.
Jack Riley.
He got a big, warm, blue-eyed soul that makes your heart beat fast.
Let's go with Mrs.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, let's really build first.
Okay, Mom, what would you like to build?
Let's build a building.
Okay.
Right now, Jessica and Jack Riley are doing constructive play with Legos. What it does is teach a child how to imitate others and construct items out of their imagination.
I need a window. Where's my window?
Jack Riley is building things from his own mind, things that he's been taught before and he's recalling on his own.
Another one.
What is that supposed to be? Is it a camera or glasses, or what is it?
Camera.
It's a camera? A special camera?
Here's my camera. Click, click.
Woo! That's so cool.
I also wanted to do functional pretend play too, so with the kitchen set to see how his conversation skills are. I haven't actually done that in the past couple of weeks. What we're really focusing on for that is not just the actions of having him imitate, but rather the narration of it, so that it's more appropriate. Like he can narrate what and tell us what he's doing in relation to what he's playing with, instead of us just modeling it for him. So we'll see.
What do you want to eat?
Can I have corn on the cob and some turkey?
Careful, it's hot. Oh, it's hot.
Blow on it.
Blow on it.
Okay, it looks delicious.
I want to eat anything else.
Yeah, I want dessert now.
Oh, here, give it to her. Here's your dessert, Suzanne.
We need some more fruit. Here's some fruit.
Oh, thank you. That looks delicious. I can't wait to eat it.
It's cold.
It's cold? Oh, good. Don't have to blow on it. Nom, 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 nom.
Do you like it?
Do you like it?
I love it. Thank you. It's a perfect call for a dessert. Nom, 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 nom. Would you like to have some of my fruit that you gave me?
Yeah.
Which one would you like to have? Oh, the orange. Delicious.
How did it taste? Look at her.
How'd it taste?
It's good.
It's good?
I'm eating.
I know.
This is delicious.
Banana. Banana. Here's your banana.
Thank you for the banana.
Jack.
Riley has high-functioning autism, and I'd say I noticed somewhere between 9 months and a year. Looking back now, I can tell you everything. I mean, there was no pointing, there was no shared experiences, speech was not coming, the interactive play was not coming, those things weren't happening. You know, you go to the pediatrician, they tell you, well, sometimes boys are slow or things might take a while to come along, but it still wasn't happening. And right when he hit the 2-year-old room in preschool is when the wheels fell off the wagon. That's when we got some intervention. That's when we figured out, you know, how are we going to address this problem. The first thing I did was I got a mentor, because there's no book on what to do with your autistic child. I mean, there's many books, but each path is individual. So I got a mentor, a really nice woman named Marlene. She has a daughter with Asperger's, and she told me, go to a psychiatrist so you can have your child fully diagnosed and a rock-solid diagnosis that can't really be attacked. Call CARD and do whatever they tell you to do. That was probably the thing she talked about the most. Get in touch with CARD. And she actually put me in touch with Evelyn from CARD. And calling CARD was like amazing, because I really felt like things were finally going to be okay. We were going to get the help we needed.
We tried a number of different things before we could get into CARD, and you could really see the difference in the data keeping, really addressing what his issues were, whereas the other places we had been, it seemed pointless to me.
We've talked about this, and I feel like we met a lot of really nice, well-intentioned people.
Right.
And then when we got to CARD, we met a lot of really nice people who could help us because they had the experience. It was ABA, which I think is the only way to go with your child if you're trying to overcome autism. And if you go to CARD, the people are so qualified and there's so much of a database on how to approach this. It's just like they come right in, and we started off with, let's have Riley sit down for 2 seconds, because he couldn't even get that. And we worked on baby steps until now he's in 1st grade and he's working at grade level. So it just starts with baby steps, and it keeps working on, because they have a way to approach every single problem, every single tantrum, every single thing you're going to come up with. They have a way to approach it and help you get through it.
Yeah, I'm always amazed, like at our clinic, we'll be having a specific problem, and how good they are, all of them, the therapists and your team leader, at coming up with a solution, something to try, and it almost always works. Whatever the particular behavior you're trying to deal with, they're really good at them. They know the answers.
He likes a lot of stuff, I think, regular 7-year-olds like. He likes to swim.
He loves to swim.
He's a fish. Likes to ride a scooter, loves Toy Story, loves playing on the iPad.
Loves Justin Bieber.
Thought you all baby mine.
Good job, buddy.
High five.
High five.
High five.
Yeah.
CARD's been good about encouraging us to do things that maybe wouldn't occur to us, like him learning to ride a bike was really them saying, hey, it's time, let's do this, and helping us do that, and so he can ride a bike. He's still working on the brakes a little bit, but you know, he can pedal a bike. We can go to Balboa Park and he'll ride happy as a clam along the bike path.
If you think something's wrong, it's not about you. Don't bury your head in the sand. Go get help, because the help is out there to make your life and your child's life just so much better. And if you're lucky enough to get in with CARD, I can't even tell you what a difference it's made in our lives from 4 years ago. Just the quality of life we have, the quality of life Riley has, the progress he's made from being a child who wanted to stay in his room and play Toy Story and line up his Toy Story dolls all day, to a first grader who's working at grade level. It couldn't have happened without CARD intervention, without ABA, and without all the wonderful people we met there.
Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson.
And I'm Shannon Penrod, and I just realized something I didn't do that I have to do before you leave. I was supposed to get a picture with you and I and Dr. Granpeesheh because one of our viewers has asked me for that, and for the last 3 weeks we haven't all been in the same space at one time.
Okay.
So DJ, I am working on it. I am working on it, DJ. I've been trying, and then I had a moment and I just missed it. Okay. But in any case, excited to be here with you. This is our last Let's Talk Autism for the 2014, which is bittersweet. But we have to start with the toy of the hour, which we're going to be featuring folks from Wicked Cool Toys. We have Crashlings and Cat Paws. I'm going to give you a cat paw. I should have done this beforehand. Take a cat paw.
I'll take a cat paw.
So these are our toys of the hour. Now, this is a fascinating thing. If you pull the trigger very slowly, it makes a lovely little kitty noise.
I love
but
this.
if you pull it really fast, you're on the attack. And this is one of those toys that, like, you see it and you go, I don't quite get it, but I've been telling everybody, these have been in my office, and anybody who comes in my office plays with these, and they cannot put them down. We know that for our older kids...
I'm going to have Wyatt take it over to Kenny and Kyle's, the cats that live next door, and see what they think.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's something you can play a prank. You can come around a chair and do something.
Have you ever done it with a cat?
Well, I don't have a cat. I'm allergic to cats. But I want to see what my dog does about this.
I definitely want to see what Casey and Hunter do. I'm very mad at Casey because she broke into the Christmas gifts, and inside the Christmas gifts was a stuffed gingerbread squeaky toy for my friend's dog, and I hear her down the hall. And I'm like, I didn't get her a new squeaky toy. And I go in there, and there she is, and all the gift wrapping is all over them.
Oh, no. That hasn't even occurred to me. Yes, and do that to her. I'm glad it hasn't occurred to my dog to unwrap a present. I'm frightened a little bit. But anyway, these are also great. These have been featured in a lot of YouTube videos. They're great for making videos about if you want, So anyway, Cat Paw.
You could also tell your husband what mood you're in by going.
Exactly right.
Or you could go.
Yes, very fun. I'm telling you, there are so many things you can do with these Cat Paw, but these are Crashlings. This is our other toy for the hour, and both of these toys are coming to us from Wicked Cool Toys. We're going to be talking about these a little bit later in the hour.
This is definitely wicked cool. What does this do?
Well, so these are great little reinforcers because they come in a single or in a pack of 4 or a pack of 10, and so it's a ball, first of all, and you open it up, and there's a surprise inside, and there are different collectibles that are inside that have different categories, but then there's something else that this does, and I know you're going to have fun with this. I did this all last Thursday with Dr. Tarbox, and then I will be addicted the rest of this hour. They're these things. Have you played with these things before with Wyatt?
No.
And you let go of them, and they're poppers, and sometimes they go.
Oh yeah, love
fun
that
stuff.
Well, he loves the bubble wrap.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of sensation.
It's the same kind of thing, and then you can't help yourself. You just keep doing it, and you have contests to see if you can catch it. I'm telling you, it's addictive. So these are Crashlings. They come in different colors. We're going to be talking about that when we have Wicked Cool Toys on later on.
All right, great.
And we're also going to do. Last week I talked about how I was on this gluten-free, casein-free, sugar-free, but no chemicals cookie extravaganza.
I don't know how you found them.
So I've been on Pinterest, and sometimes on Pinterest it's dangerous because then you have Pinterest fails. I think we have at least one fail.
Okay.
But you're our guinea pig that we're going to have you test in a little while. I think we've got at least 2 winners.
All right.
And at least one that's a fail, and one I'm not sure about that you'll have to tell me. But so I did. I made 4 different kinds. I said I was going to make 8. I pared it down to 4 and was rational and reasonable.
I'm ready to eat them.
4, so we're going to do that towards the end of the hour. And then whichever ones Nancy gives the go-ahead to, we'll put on the blog so that you guys can have the recipes.
Okay.
You don't need the recipes for things that don't taste good.
No, you don't.
There's at least one thing. There's at least one thing that both Jim and Jem were like, I don't think so. So I don't really know. Well, I think I'm allergic to bananas, and that's the main ingredient in it. So I think they should have tasted good. But
bananas are in it.
Bananas are in it, and I can't taste them to see. So you'll have to tell me. But we're gonna start. We're gonna clear the toys.
Sad for you that you're allergic for bananas. That's sad.
Oh. I cried. I literally cried a year and a half ago because they said, I thought they were going to say you're allergic to milk. Wow. They did, and they said, oh, and bananas. And I started to cry. I was like, no, seriously, you're going to take away my bananas? But it is what it is.
Okay.
My friends. Okay, but we have some news for first that we want to talk about, some really exciting news that yesterday the Senate passed the ABLE Act. Now it goes to President Obama. And, I guess I always had the expectation that it was going to pass. It's such a reasonable. But my understanding is that this is the first new legislation of its kind in terms of how big the scope of it is since they passed the IDEA Act. This is absolutely huge. People are saying this is groundbreaking. I
had no idea of that either, Shannon.
It's one of those things that made so much sense that I guess I just didn't realize how big of a deal it is. But a lot of people did a lot of work, a lot of people to thank. Really want to thank Shelley Hendricks at Autism Votes.
Autism Votes, yes.
Who's done an amazing job.
Right. And we should explain just a little bit for those of you that don't know.
Yeah.
The beneficiaries of this, families facing the lifelong cost of disabling illness such as epilepsy or Down syndrome or severe autism. And if Obama signs the bill, people with disabilities and their families will soon have the option of creating tax-sheltered savings accounts to help pay for long-term care. ABLE stands for Achieving a Better Life.
Yeah, and this has been a 5-year process that it took. Really want to thank Senator Robert Casey from Pennsylvania, who sponsored the bill. House Speaker John Boehner also notably was on the same side for this.
Yeah,
we
which is
keep
great.
Hearing that it's gridlock in the Senate, that the two sides cannot agree on anything. But I'm glad that they put aside all of their you-know-what to sign this bill. And our expectation is that the president will sign this. We will notify you guys on Facebook when that happens, because we probably won't be here live over the break doing that. But really remarkable. This is going to help all of us. Before, you could put money into an account that was tax sheltered that would go towards education for your children. And one of the things that was raised by this, the idea that some of our kids aren't necessarily going to go to college.
Right.
Maybe they're going to need a different kind of support, and this levels the playing field so that we get the benefit of having that money tax sheltered as well. It does a lot of great things, but again, saying the first major bill aimed at helping the disabled since the 1990s Americans with Disabilities Act. So remarkable. We're thrilled that it passed, and we're looking forward to it being signed by the president. Onward and upward.
Yeah, another big story in the news. Vitamin D and autism.
Yeah.
This is actually in pediatrics, the Journal of American Academy of Pediatrics, that they're studying the role of vitamin D in many brain disorders, including depression to dementia, but also an area, obviously autism. And Paul Wang, who is Autism Speak Senior Vice President for Medical Research, says this is an area that Autism Speaks is now supporting research. So I guess they have ongoing trials.
Yeah, absolutely. The big study that's getting all the news, and you and I had talked about this on the phone the other day, a study that came out of China with only one child. And so we really need to say that, when you see these headlines about vitamin D, playing a big role in autism, they are asking us to all be cautious because it's one child, but they saw a a significant difference in this one child who was testing their vitamin D levels were borderline low. And some of our kids have excessively low vitamin D.
Right.
But this child made tremendous gains after just being given vitamin D. So
Did it say how much the dosage was?
it was a huge amount. There was a shot. I don't know if I included it in the, it was a shot once a month. Vitamin D3, 150,000 IUs, and then a daily 400 IU that was prescribed after that. And after 2 months, his vitamin D level had risen, and the parents were reporting clear improvements. The boy had stopped running in circles and banging his head. He was responding to his name, playing with toys, and asking his parents to hold him in their arms. So significant improvement, but do want to caution you, this is one child. And while vitamin D is very important for all of our kids, and our kids should get a certain amount of vitamin D, you can overdose on vitamin D. So don't run out and pour a bunch of vitamin D down your child. It needs to be under a doctor's care, because my understanding is that vitamin D is one of the fatty. It stores in your fat, and so it can cause critical things if you overdose on it. So use extreme caution.
You might want to look at what the highest amount recommended for a daily intake would be.
It's 150,000 is about 150,000 times more than what is recommended.
Right.
So
I know Wyatt takes 4,000 a day.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I think Jem takes. I think he takes 2,200 a day. I think, but don't quote me. Okay, and then this was a story that we wanted to get to last week and that we just didn't get to. We know so many things are going on in the world, and a lot of people protesting the role of police and how they interact with individuals, and especially individuals of color.
Yes.
And this blog came out, and it leveled me. How did you feel when you saw
it? It leveled me as well. It's written by a gentleman by the name of David Dennis Jr., and he talks about how he and his wife 2 months ago were given the news. He said, we sat in the Marcus Autism Center's exam room and heard the doctor tell us that their son, Langston, had autism spectrum disorder. He obviously was going through the shock of all of that, but then he quickly jumped to a lot of the things that have been happening in our country with young, sometimes very, very young African-American men and boys.
And the title of the blog is "My Son is Black with Autism, and I'm scared of what the police will do to him."
And I don't blame him, because police that don't understand autism, if you had a child that was in a tantrum, for example, and I had a situation I was telling Shannon once where Wyatt was leaving school, and I wasn't with him at the time. His aide was with him, and there was a policeman there with his police car, and Wyatt went over and was kicking up dirt. And the policeman said, "Hey, stop that," and Wyatt didn't stop it.
Right.
And he said, "Hey, stop that." And was getting really irate with my son. And the aide said, "He has autism." And then he went, "Oh, okay." But
what if nobody was there to say
What if nobody was there? What if, we know that there are huge disparities in many of our cities between the number of African-American officers versus white officers and black population.
Right.
We know there's still an enormous amount of racism in this country.
Right.
We know it.
And there's a cultural gap, I think, with the police as well, that everybody's talking about what, it is a perspective-taking problem on a level that I don't think we've discussed before, about how one little action you take is perceived in a certain way. We have to at least acknowledge that for some of our police, they have a hormonal rush that happens when they're in a situation where they're in fear for their lives. I'm not in any way excusing anything, please, but I think on both sides we need to get better educated.
Have to. I know of scenes that I can replay in my head of teenagers, that are acting in such a way, or tantruming, or in a violent, that if a policeman saw that, they might say,
Absolutely.
this is a person that needs to be taken down.
Yeah, things get out of control very quickly when behavior is happening.
Yeah, when behavior is happening. And they're there to keep everybody safe. And we're not on either side. I know you were with I am. We're not saying the police are wrong. We just want better education
for everyone,
for our children, for the police. And I hear this man's fears.
I'm so sad that this is the very first place he has to go after autism. Because I have to say that, eventually I got to that fear as a parent of a white child, but it wasn't my second fear.
No.
And that's the thing where my heart aches, where I go, this is so wrong, that's his very next thing that he has to worry about.
He says his biggest fear is, what if a cop sees my son and feels threatened because my son doesn't fit within a cop's normative ideas of proper behavior.
Yeah.
And let's face it, a kid, with a hoodie on and his head down and nonverbal, not able to answer commands, the tragic situation of the boy who was 12 years old with a toy gun, but he aimed it at the police. They didn't know it was a toy gun.
Right.
Our kids could do that at any point.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's frightening.
It is frightening, and I feel for this, and I thank this dad for writing this because it opened my eyes to what because it wasn't my second fear. But I also want to say, in the helpful category, we're friends with Emily Island.
Yes, we are.
Emily Island works very hard on this particular making sure that we educate our population, all kids with autism, and making sure that we educate the police. She works very hard on that. There is something called Be Safe, the movie, that you can buy for your family, and you can also buy it for your police and be a part of making sure that both sides get educated.
Yes.
It educated me. It has educated my son in terms of what he needs to do if he's in an interaction with the police. It is a step in the right direction.
It is a step in the right direction.
We encourage all of you to spread the word about that. Be Safe, the movie.
And we encourage police departments around the country to learn about autism, bring in autism experts to educate your force.
Yes.
It's more crucial now than ever. Because many times when I look at some of these tragedies, I look at behaviors, as this father says, the Eric Garner video, he said he saw autism in that video. He said he saw somebody trying his hardest to communicate to a group of people, screaming at the top of his lungs, but his language didn't mean anything.
Right.
And this can happen. And it can be scary, but we need to know how to deal with it.
Absolutely. Having said that, we're running a little bit late, and we have got wonderful guests who are going to be joining us from Wicked Cool Toys. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to play with some more Crashlings, so stick with us.
Hi, I'm Ryan with Autism Research Group. We study ways to improve the lives of kids with autism. One of those ways is teaching safety skills, such as what to do if they get lost. We hit the streets to find out if anybody knows the correct answer on how to teach a kid what to do if they get lost.
You're teaching the child
what to do if they get lost.
Yeah, you're trying to make them independent so they have the skills.
Gotcha, okay.
Well, give them a compass. Code name's good idea, Centurion.
We always have this whistle.
Oh, I'd also tell the kid, don't get scared. You're gonna be all right, man. This is just the world. This is planet Earth. You're at home here. As long as you're on planet Earth, you're at home.
As long as you're on planet Earth, you're home. This guy's a genius. With that flawless logic, he just solved our homeless problem. And as for the unique sounding whistle, although very cool, it'll probably only work if you're in close proximity. And a compass?
I have her call me.
Yeah, she doesn't have a phone. Parents are like, you're too young, you don't need a phone.
Establish some sort of meeting place.
What if they can't find a meeting place? Because sometimes the kids get nervous when they get lost.
Yeah.
So like a backup plan, plan B.
Yeah, I don't know. No, not really.
Let them go and find a new kid.
Yeah, I got a different one. Yeah.
There's not much you can do.
There is stuff you can do.
That's right, there is stuff you can do. In 2012, myself, along with my colleagues, Dr. Jonathan Tarbox and Dr. Adele Nadowski, published a study in the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis on teaching kids what to do when they get lost. The study demonstrated how 3 simple things, rules, role-playing, and praise, were effective in establishing these help-seeking behaviors. The benefit of this method is it doesn't require the child to have a cell phone or to have to locate a meeting place, which might be difficult if they're in a place like Disneyland. So once again, our method included rules, role-playing, and praise. Let's head back outside and learn about some of these rules.
They should yell out loud. Can't find my mom, help me.
Maybe yell out and scream for help. All right. Scream really loud.
Correct.
And if that doesn't work, then,
I don't know.
well, they could seek help from someone.
Find an adult.
Yeah, go to a vendor, you know, and say I'm lost.
Find an adult, like a police officer or a fireman or an employee in the store, and tell them, and maybe they can help you contact your parent. It really is that simple. You don't need to get your kid a cell phone. You don't need to establish a meeting place that they might not be able to find when they're lost and panicking. And you definitely don't need to give them a compass. All your kid has to do is 3 things. First, yell mom or dad real loud. 2, if that doesn't work, find an employee. And then 3rd, tell the employee they're lost. If they can't locate an employee, then tell them to find a mother with children, because that's probably the safest person to approach. I'm not saying that most men are predators, but most predators are men. That is a fact. I've read it in a fortune cookie. All right, so you've gone over the rules with your kid, and you've quizzed them, and they're able to tell you the correct responses so they understand the rules. But is that enough? How do you know they're gonna perform correctly in a real-world setting? You need to get out there and find out if they can actually do it. So you'd go over the rules and tell them, like, do this, do that, but how would you know if they actually knew what to do? If you wanted to shoot a basketball, and I just told you, oh, when you shoot a basketball, do this, this, and this.
I never practiced.
You never practiced, yeah, so it don't matter how many times we go over the rules or how well you can repeat them back to me. It's not going to change until you get on the court and practice.
Maybe do like a, a little skit with them.
Like a role play?
Role play, yeah.
Your child, you're lost in the toy aisle.
Okay.
What do you do? I'm an attendant, walking around.
I'm lost, I don't know where my mom is. And then once you practice, you just like praise them, give them feedback, like, good job, you did it.
Reinforcing it.
Yes, this woman wins the prize for best comment. She pointed out the most important part of learning, reinforcement. Now, in our study, we used praise, but for your kid, you might have to use something else. You might have to buy them a treat, a toy, take them to their favorite restaurant where they can eat unhealthy food and run around and climb through plastic tunnels that have the unmistakable scent of urine, and then play games, spending $20 to get a plastic little spider ring that they will eventually lose in a ball pit. The point is, you need to reward your child for correctly demonstrating what you've been teaching them.
Okay, I'm gonna call her. Hello, your child, Ryan Oceans is missing. There you go.
Woohoo!
Yay!
So you tested it out
I'll
in the
try.
store to make sure I knew it. I had the rules,
Yes.
we role played it, and you made sure I knew it, and then like you said, good job, and all that. Now we're good to go.
We're good to go.
All right.
Done?
High five right there.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Give your child the rules, get out there and practice, and reward your child for responding correctly. For more information, please visit us online at autismresearchgroup.org. I'm Ryan Bergstrom. Thanks for watching. Yes, ding, no. Yes, this woman wins the first, yes, this woman, yes, this woman wins the best, yes, this woman wins the first place, yes, this woman, why can't I say woman? Yes, this woman wins, what's the line? Yes!
All right. Welcome back to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. We're really excited because we've got toys all over the desk, and we have via Skype joining us Jeremy Padawer from Wicked Cool Toys.
Hi,
we
Jeremy.
love Wicked Cool Toys. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, how are you?
We're so thrilled you're here with us.
We're having fun. We're playing with toys. What could be wrong?
And we should note that this is your second time participating in our Festival of Toys. We had you guys on last year, and we love you guys. And last Thursday, we featured you guys, the Toy of the Hour, and we're going to talk about some of those toys. But we're again today, our Toy of the Hour are the Crashlings and the Cat Paw. So we welcome Jeremy being here. And
And Jeremy, how did Wicked Cool Toys, love the name by the way, how did it come about? How did it come about?
Well, you know, when we named the company, we were not looking to be so strategic in our thought process. We just wanted to we wanted to have a name that really communicated fun and something that was, you know, not super serious, because the recognition at the end of the day is as challenging as the toy industry can be, and it is. I mean, it's a mature category. You're attacked by the electronic industry, and kids are sucked into the complications there. We just wanted to make it fun again. So Wicked Cool, we thought would get everyone's their armor down and would disarm everyone and let them recognize what they're dealing with. And that's exactly what you're dealing with us. We're people that just want to make fun stuff.
Well, and you are aptly named because your toys are wicked cool. It makes great sense. And you have a wide variety of toys. One of the things I notice about your toys is that they're really well made. You do some stuff that's just the creme de la creme.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Oh, it's true. Last year we featured the My Girls Dollhouse, which if people have not seen this, it is like the ultimate dream dollhouse. It's designed for those 18-inch dolls. It's absolutely amazing. This year, and you allowed us to give one of those dollhouses away last year. This year, you were so generous and gave us one from your Disney Princess wood structure toys line. You gave us the Disney Princess Royal Kitchen, which is made from real wood. We gave that away last Thursday. I can tell you, there's a little girl in Iowa who is so excited. Well, her mom is so excited that it's coming. Amazing, and we want to thank you for your generosity. And Nancy wasn't here, so I don't know if you tell Nancy about this beautiful kitchen.
Yeah, sure. Well, we believe, and so we've worked with Disney for many, many years, and we believe that, there's a lot of plastic product in the marketplace, and we have no issue with that whatsoever. I mean, there's some really high-quality stuff out there. But we wanted to give parents an option for a higher-grade material and perhaps something that would be more fitting for, where kitchens almost always end up, which is your kitchen. Certainly, I have two little girls. I have a 5- and a 7-year-old, and I think that and my business partners also have little children, so it's easy for all of us to kind of embrace the idea that there are all kinds of parents out there that have different expectations, and we just wanted to provide a premium opportunity.
So that it's made from real wood, which is
Right.
so great.
Amazing.
And it's, there's nothing toxic there, and this is such a big concern for so
last
many parents. And
forever,
it's going to
too.
last. It's a classic that you'll be able to hand down through the generations. How can someone order this, or the Disney Princess Vanity?
Which I also love. You would love that.
I know I would.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the vanity is so chock full with utility. I mean, it really is a beautiful piece of furniture. It's not just role play. I mean, it's got a seating area with a cushion, and it's got drawers and all of the things that someone might want to feel like a little princess.
Kelby, do we have a picture that we can put up of either the vanity or the kitchen? We'll take a look and see if we've got that somewhere. But they're absolutely beautiful.
And you can go to Target.com or ToysRUs.com or Amazon.com, and you'll find, if you type in Disney wooden vanity or Disney wooden kitchen.
Okay, so you can get them at Target and Toys R Us, and what's the best way? How can they order it?
Well, the best way is probably to do it online.
Okay.
At this time in the season, some of these larger bulk items are more difficult in store. So it's, it definitely makes it easier just to order it online.
Okay, so can you go to Wicked Cool Toys, or just go to any?
I would go to Target.com or ToysRUs.com.
Fabulous.
Okay, great.
Okay. Let's talk about something for the boys.
Yes. As I'm popping Crashlings
It's your popping.
all over.
Crashlings.
You've got a lot of great things that, for the girls that are amazing. But
Yeah.
you've got some great things for the boys. And this is...
This is for boys and girls. This is for everybody.
Absolutely.
This is grown-ups, kids. Crashlings are for everyone, right, Jeremy?
Crashlings are a lot of fun. And the good news with Crashlings is that they're very inexpensive. So we've gone from one extreme to the other here, working with the high-end wood product for Disney, and then on the other side, you've got these items that you can get literally for $1 at retail. And Crashlings are little aliens that live inside of meteors. Do you guys remember the meteor that blew up over Russia a few years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And it caused a huge stir online, and people were shocked at the power of these meteors.
Yes.
Well, we had a creative session. We thought, what would happen if, when the meteors blow up, it populates the world with these little explorers? And
Great
and so
idea.
that's how we came up with Crashlings.
My son is studying this in school right now in 7th grade, meteors and stuff. So this could be a really good way to show it.
Well, and I love that there's so many different things that are in them. That you've got one that are aliens, you've got dinos, sea life, monsters, and insects. So it's kind of something for everybody, and they can pick and choose what they want.
And you were talking about with therapy. It's a great way to do therapy. Tell us about that.
I think that these are one of the coolest toys to have for therapy because we always like to have toys that have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So when a child says, we do what we call a preference assessment and say to a child, what do you want to work for? And we'll let them pick from things. So you could put the Crashlings out there and they can say they want to work for the aliens, the dinos, the sea life, whatever. Then you have them do whatever it is that's hard, and then they get their reward. Well, the great thing about the Crashlings, I love this popper thing because it's got a real bang for your buck, if you will. So you turn it, you turn it inside. Yeah, you turn it inside out, and it does the pop. And a kid wants this. They want to work for this. So, and mine's taken a great deal of time. It's sitting on the desk. We don't know when it's going to go. But so the kid has worked for this. I've played with it. Oh, there, and I just interrupted it. So the kid worked for it all this time, and then the therapist gets to sit there. It pops, and the therapist goes, "Yay, this is great!" And then you go back to work. And it's easy to go back to work, and now the child wants to do it again, so they're going to do another lesson, and when they are done with that lesson, they can pick it again, they get the pop, and they go back. It's really effective because it gives them something that they want to do, so it makes it easier to do the lesson.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. That's exciting to hear that there's utility beyond the toy itself. And when we were developing the toy, one of the things that we wanted to do was to actually have something that was truly demonstrable at $1. And it's hard to do that. It really is. But the collectability of it, 150 different characters, as you mentioned, and then the cool demonstrable popping feature where you really do get a bang for the buck, which is something that it's a very descriptive way to describe to say it.
You can quote me. It's a great bang for your buck.
It sure is.
It really is. And the fact that there's so many other things, like they get the little character too, because some of our kids like to have those and have them in a pocket. It makes them feel secure.
Yes.
There's my thing going again.
Yes.
And that I love that each one of them comes with a little sheet that has games that you can play.
I know, that's really fun.
I
can't believe all the characters. They're really
the amazing
fun.
amount of things that you can do literally for $1. I think you guys did a great job,
I
Jeremy.
agree. Okay, now moving on to Cat Paw, my favorite. This seems like something the Bond girls should have in a Bond movie.
This is the craziest toy to me. Now, you were saying during the break that Cat Paw was featured very publicly yesterday. Tell our audience.
Yeah, well, so David Letterman, and he's in his last year of his show, and so his ratings are incredible right now. And his people came through and looked at a lot of toys and chose Cat Paw, which I'm holding right now, as one of their faves because it is so bizarre. I mean, it is so bizarre.
But you can't put it down.
So last night it was on David Letterman under, when they review the toys. They reviewed like a half a dozen toys, but Cat Paw stayed on the show the whole hour. So Anna Kendrick was one of the guests, and she said some hilarious stuff about Cat Paw, which I would say is PG-13 at the very least. Okay. But I guess, wherever your mind goes with this insane little fun toy product. But you know what it is? Remember Billy Bass, that fish that would talk on your lip? I mean, this is just kind of a ridiculous, fun item that, allows you to enjoy Cat Paw. I think really
what I love about it is that it's a great way to indicate to my husband or my son what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, and if I'm angry.
I love the face, too.
And I don't even have to talk.
I think it's a great stocking stuffer. I think it's a great conversation piece. I know my son would want to make a YouTube video with it.
Oh, yeah.
From the point of view of the cat and the cat going around doing things, I can see him doing that already.
My son will want to take it next door to Kenny and Kyle, who are both calico cats, and see how they react.
Love it.
Okay.
And sometimes for our teens, it's hard to find something that isn't electronic, that their face is going to be stuck in the screen, that's interactive. This is a perfect toy for that.
Yeah, and what we found is that little animals find it quite intriguing to see this little ball come out of nowhere. The reaction from the pet side of the universe is fear and terror from some of the 100-pound dogs to sort of like acceptance and warmth.
You know,
you
might have a whole new segment on America's Funniest Videos. Who Vin DeBona, by the way, is on our board of directors at Act Today.
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Yeah, I'll have to show this to Vin because the wheels will turn. You're going to be seeing cat paw videos all over YouTube.
We have to get the word out on the paw.
Yes, that's right. The word on the paw. Now, we should mention, though, that you've got so many toys at Wicked Cool Toys. This is just a sampling. So we can send people, what's the website that we can send them to so that they can see more things?
You could go to wickedcooltoys.com, and you can see some of the brands that we work with. I actually have a couple toys next to me now if you want to see a few more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah. Sure, we love toys.
All right. So I'll just do a quick overview here. So Monster Jam, Monster Trucks. So we do a lot of their plush toys. And this is like a big 16-inch Monster Jam that you can get right now at only $9.99 at Toys R Us. So it's huge, and it's a great value.
Cool. Very cool.
In addition, here's a giant John Cena WWE action figure. He's over 31 inches tall. And he's very manly. As you can see, this body sculpt was based on...
Look at those abs.
Yeah, this is based on
That's a perfect toy for a couple of my girlfriends, I think.
I agree. Shannon and I are going to get those for our girlfriends, okay?
Perfect. And then one other to show you right now is our Vroom.
Oh, yes. This is a great one.
Younger, but this is a ride-on, but it's also like a storage case for kids if they're traveling. So they can ride through the airport. There's a strap. It can go over your shoulder. You can pull your children. And then when it opens up, it has a full ability to act as a suitcase and you can carry several days worth of stuff. And it's just got a tremendous amount of utility. It fits in the overhead compartment or under the seat in front of you, and just really has a lot of utility. And we have that in many, many different styles.
That will soon be seen at airports all around America.
Oh, look at that, a turtle. I love it, too, because you can use it for toy storage.
Yes.
For those of you who are in apartments or condos and you don't have a whole lot of space, and so it's a ride-on toy, but you're storing toys in it as well.
And it looks great in the room.
Looks great in the room. It's like decorative. So,
Vroom. You can see that on govroom.com.
And that's V-R-U-M, correct?
That's right. G-O and then VRUM.com.
Okay. So check those out. Great
fun toys.
I know. What a great life
Makes
you
me
guys
feel
have
like a
making
kid
wicked
again.
cool toys. I know.
Yes.
Well,
we've got some really cool stuff coming next year as well. I mean, we just signed a deal with Girl Scouts. We're the first partner for Girl Scouts of America, and we're developing the cookie maker oven, which is going to be unbelievable.
Fun. Thin mints in the oven.
So there's going to be all kinds of fun stuff to come.
We're going to be talking about cookies in just a second.
What a good transition.
What a
good transition.
But Jeremy, we thank you so much at Wicked Cool Toys. You guys are always so generous with us, and your toys are great for our kids.
They are. Yeah, you are so creative and inventive, and thank you for sharing that with our community.
Yes, your toys are wicked cool.
Wicked cool. All right.
All right, thank you so much, Jeremy. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and have Nancy taste some cookies right after this. Stick with us.
Hello, fellow activists. Last segment, we talked about step 3, get support. Step number 4 is don't compare, run your own race. Now, it's one thing to aspire to be like someone that's really helped their child. We all want to do that. That's really different than keeping up with the Joneses. That only serves to make you envious and full of regret. There will always be someone who has a child with autism who is doing better than yours, and there will always be someone who has a child with autism who's doing worse than yours. One morning I was talking to the mom of a recovered child who told me he had been moved into the gifted class. Well, I had heard that week that my own son, who was in 5th grade, was reading at 1st grade level. Now, I have to admit, I was kind of proud of him until that phone call, which put me over the edge. The green-eyed monster of jealousy. Well, later that same day, I got into the elevator as I was taking my son to clinic. There was a father with his 2 sons, one typical and one with severe autism. He He was pretty much nonverbal, but he did make some very strange sounds over and over again. He had bite marks, scratches all over his arms. He wore mittens to protect him from himself. The father, however, had a big smile on his face. Needless to say, the universe was sending me a message that day. Don't compare. Be grateful for the progress your child has made and will continue to make. So until next time, keep running your own race at your own pace. Don't forget to stop for water and keep the faith.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. Now, I don't know if you guys can see, but I was on my cookie thing this last week that I wanted to make some Christmas cookies that were healthier, gluten-free, casein-free, no sugar, no refined sugar in them. And so this is what I've done. So we're going to have Nancy do some taste testing. Now, do you want to start with one that I'm pretty confident in or one that I'm not confident in?
You tell me what you'd like me to do.
Let's start with the Rice Krispie ones because you were interested in those. Now, I will say that
my son loves them.
These didn't set up as well for me, so they're still a little bit gushy, but the first batch that I made, they did fine. I just put too much of the margarine in them.
Okay.
So I used a marshmallow that I got at a specialty market that was sweetened with brown, it was totally vegan, sweetened with brown rice syrup. And then I used Barbara's brown rice cereal, which has a little bit of fruit juice to sweeten it as well.
Okay.
And that's basically it. And a little bit of margarine. Now my husband loved those too and said he would eat that. Really healthy, and it's brown rice cereal,
I would eat this
so
for
it's
breakfast.
healthier. And you can put some vanilla in it if you need the vanilla. Now the first batch that I made, I packed them down so that you could cut them just like a rice krispie. I was lazy.
Are you supposed to refrigerate them?
I did refrigerate these. So, but I didn't pack them down.
But that's how they harden in the refrigerator?
Yeah, but I put too much margarine in because I wasn't following the recipe. I was kind of off-roading it.
Okay.
Now these little, if you would take, do you like dates?
Yes, I do.
Because these are the easiest thing in the world to make. You take dates and you grind them up. You take the pits out of them, you grind them up, and that's basically all you do, and then you roll them in coconut. And they're a lovely little treat.
This is delicious.
I think so too. And there's no sugar. It's just dates rolled in coconut. You can't get it.
This is not
even. It took me 3 seconds to make them, and they look very holiday. You could give them to anybody.
They're very holiday.
There's no sugar. There's
no
nothing
one would
at
even.
it.
People would think this had. It says yummy as any confection.
Exactly, and it's got unsweetened coconut that's organic. I mean, my goodness. Okay.
So the dates, you just puree them.
Put them in a food processor. And I used fresh dates that I got from the farmer's market that hadn't been dried, so they're really moist, but I've done it before with the ones that have been dried before.
These
if
are
you can't
delicious.
get those. Okay, now moving on. These were one of the ones that Jim and Jem did not particularly like that I think would taste good, but I haven't been able to taste them because they have banana in them.
Let me put my date down.
Okay, so, and these are considered a breakfast cookie. The ingredients, and basically they call it a 2-ingredient cookie where you take oats, gluten-free oats, and bananas, that's a cashew, and you mix it together, and then you can put whatever mix in that you want, and you bake it.
Cleanse my palate here after the dates.
So these particular cookies have raisins and cashews in them as well, and a little bit of honey. But you can put whatever you want into them, and not do the honey if you don't want to. But Jim and Jem, they did not flip their switch. It wasn't sweet enough for them. Neither one was particularly wild about it.
Now,
but you could put in more coconut. You could put in maple syrup. You could do all kinds of things to them.
It's not particularly sweet. However, I would eat this for breakfast.
Yeah, and it's considered a breakfast cookie.
I would eat it for breakfast.
So there you go.
It's like on the go. You know how?
Right.
You know,
Very
I never
healthy.
eat breakfast. I run out the door. I'm usually lightheaded by 11 o'clock, and I would love to have something like this.
Okay. Now, for our last ones, we have some that are coated in chocolate and some that aren't coated in chocolate. So try a chocolate one first to see what you think about a chocolate one. And what these are...
Now, cocoa does not have dairy in it, just pure
You have
cocoa.
to get the cocoa that doesn't have dairy in it.
How do
and you
you
have to get
know?
one that says it on the label. And you get one that is that says gluten-free and that says it is vegan on it. And then you know that it doesn't have anything in it. And it's just pure cocoa. It doesn't have those things if you don't get anything else. So that is supposed to be cookie dough flavored like a bonbon covered in chocolate. There's no sugar in that.
Love it.
Okay. It's all right? It's not too bitter?
No, not for me.
Okay, so there's no...
But I like dark chocolate.
Yeah, and it is a dark chocolate.
And a lot of kids don't.
Yeah, a lot of kids don't.
But I think every woman in America would eat this.
Okay, so the inside in the bonbon, here's what's really interesting to me because there's no eggs in it either. There's no eggs in anything that we made.
Right.
So the secret ingredient, there's peanut butter in that, but also garbanzo beans. That's what gives it the texture. So it's peanut butter, garbanzo beans, pureed together with a little bit of vanilla, and you have to get the gluten-free, vanilla, which isn't hard to find. I get a really wonderful organic one. And then I made chocolate chips out of the same thing that I did the coating. It's coconut oil and cocoa with some honey. And so I made that and put it on a sheet and broke it up into little chips, put that in the dough, and then covered it with the coating, and it hardens up because of the coconut oil. Now, I recently had heard that coconut oil, we were talking with Dr. Copeland also yesterday, and she was talking about that coconut oil is an antifungal. That it's a good thing to give our children. It's an antifungal. So if you're working on things like yeast and those kinds of things, having coconut oil is something that we want to encourage our kids to have. It's a good fat for them to have. So no sugar. There is, there is some maple syrup in the cookie dough.
Well, I would give these an A+. I'd give those, if they were formed, I understand you put a little bit too margarine, I'd give them a B. I think, and for our kids, because let's face it, a lot of the Rice Krispie bars have so much sugar in them.
Jem loves those, by the way.
I think Wyatt would love those. These, I think, I didn't taste the one without chocolate, but for grown-ups, these are delicious. I think maybe your kids might like these more. A lot of kids don't like the dark chocolate. And these, I would eat for breakfast. I don't know about anybody else.
So what grade for a breakfast cookie?
Judging it on breakfast cookie only, not as cookie. I would give it a B+ as a breakfast cookie. I mean, it's better than a lot. I had a bar this morning in the car, and it kind of tastes like sawdust, and it was a popular brand. So, And that had blueberries and almonds and stuff in it.
So nothing that you're like, ugh.
No, not at all.
Well, so I feel good about that.
Yeah,
no actual fails.
I'm very proud of you, and I get 2 thumbs up on.
And can I tell you that none of these took more than 5 minutes to make?
That's crazy.
None of them took more than 5 minutes.
Because it seems like these all took a lot of time.
Nope.
Yeah, well,
food processor and the microwave, and the one thing I needed to heat up on the stove a little bit. That's it.
It's a good thing.
And the breakfast cookies got baked for 10 minutes. Big deal.
You move over, Martha.
Well, gluten-free, right? With no sugar. With no sugar in my arsenal.
I think we might have a new food chef here. You never know.
I don't know about that.
Might be seeing you on the Food Network.
Well, in January, I will tell you, one of the things I've been doing is every time I make something for Jem, I take a picture of it, because we're going to do a series of blogs about gluten-free meals, about what, and I took a picture of everything for the last 6 months so that I have it and can blog about it without having to make it. So anyway, it has forced me to be a little bit more creative, which has been fun. I'm having more fun in the kitchen, and he's enjoyed his meals more. And we've walked a little. He was getting a little bored. Is the word I want. So,
yeah, we all get bored with food. I mean, we all get stuck, don't we?
We absolutely do. We're getting close to the end of the show, though, and I want to keep eating. But I wanted to, we were going to take a break, but let's not. I wanted to talk a little bit about biggest stories of the year. Like what grabbed your eye, or what do you think was a big game changer in 2014? Or what gave you hope, or what happened in 2014? Because when we come back in January, we're going to talk about what we want to see for 2015. But what happened in 2014 that really grabbed your attention?
There are a couple of things that come to mind. One, I think the Pope we have now is just so amazing, and he's given a lot of people hope around the world, and he's become more, I think, open to what I believe the true meaning of Christianity is, which is to love everyone and to accept everyone.
Yeah, and him having this autism be the topic for his medical conference, I thought was
great.
Really
so
important.
That really was heartening to me. That was a highlight from this past year. And I mean, I'm not going to go I'm not like a Barbara Walters who goes with George Clooney's wife. I mean, I don't care about that stuff.
Right. I thought that was interesting too. I thought it was a little fascinating.
Okay, so they got married.
Yeah,
great.
A lot of people got married this year.
Yeah. But that really I think is the top of my list when I think about, because I like hope. I like things
too.
that. What about you?
Well, there were two things there's two studies that I really thought were very interesting. The one that was fascinating to me was about the broccoli sprouts. I think we're going to hear more information about looking at. I think they're finally paying attention to us. That a lot of us say that when our kids get a fever, something happens, and we get a moment of clarity, a window. And I think we're going to see more information about what's going to happen. And I think that's very exciting to us. And I also think it's very interesting that there were more studies added to the growing pile saying that pesticides have an effect on all of our children, but have a neurotransmitter effect. That they're neurotoxins, and that we all need. And so we're seeing in more stores more products that are organic, and I think that's a step in the right direction.
I would agree with you on the autism side. The top story to me is the growing mountain of evidence that environment plus genetics is what's causing this epidemic, and environment is playing, and all the leading scientists are getting on that bandwagon. The thing that I don't think enough attention has been paid to is employing our kids on the autism spectrum, and it's a great concern, and I hope next year we see some huge gains in having our young people in jobs and in employment, and not sitting at home on couches after they age out of the system.
Absolutely. Amen to that. We're out of time here, but I want to just tease a little bit about what's happening tomorrow on the show. We have Dr. Adele Nadowski here. We don't know yet whether we have Dr. Tarbox there. We may or may not. I'm not sure. Things are up in the air. But we are going to have Nava Paskowitz on tomorrow.
Wow.
She's talking about her new job and what she's doing with Circle of Friends at a very special school, and she is bringing a wonderful rabbi with her tomorrow. So we're going to get our Hanukkah on tomorrow here at Autism Live. So a wonderful, wonderful show that we've got for you to round out the year. So make sure that you tune in for that. I want to thank you for a wonderful year. Can't wait to see what 2015 brings us here.
Very excited to be working with you, and so many opportunities next year.
Amen to that. So many things that we both have going on. So we want to wish everybody out there Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. Make sure that you watch us again tomorrow. I don't know how our time is, Kelby. Okay, we're out of time.
Bye-bye.
So give your kiddos a hug from me.
And give yourselves a hug from me. Happy holidays.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.